Laura. All right, we're live. Hello, guys. How are you guys doing? All right, so welcome to another one of our live session. And today, we're going to be answering all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. I know that you guys are joining us every single week, and we can't thank you enough. That is so cool that you guys are here every week. And you may just notice that Laura is a little bit more hairy than usual today, and that's for a really good reason. So Laura is actually traveling around the North Island right now, seeking some more of the beaten track places for us to feature on BackpackerGuide.NZ, and she left me in charge of the live stream. I personally think that's a big mistake, but in the meantime, I asked my friend Leo to join us, and Leo has a pretty cool New Zealand story, actually.
Go. Hey guys, I'm Leo. I'm actually originally from Brazil. Been in New Zealand for the last 7 years, and I have traveled the country quite extensively. While working in the tourism industry, I've been working in tourism for the last 7 years as well. I worked for Black Water Rafting and Kiwi Experience, the Glowworm Caves, and now I work for Skydive Taupo. So anyway, all over the show. So that's a bit of me. But I think Laura has a message for you guys.
Yeah, Laura sent a quick message to say hi. So here you go. Is it working?
Hey guys, sorry I can't make it to the live video this week. We're currently exploring some of the best geothermal areas of the country, but I'll leave you in the capable hands of Robin and Leo this week, who hopefully they behave unsupervised, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.
Can't believe she thinks we're not going to be behaving properly. I find that absolutely outrageous. We are really well-behaved people. All right. So saying hi to a couple of people on the live chat. Hello, Jay. Hello, Apova. Apova, I already answered your question on YouTube last time. So yeah, if you have a different question, make sure to ask it. But we're going to get started with some questions that people actually have sent us. And the first one actually is really fitting because Leo used to work in Waitomo, which is where all the glowworms and the Black Water Rafting happens. And we had a question on Facebook by Lars. So Lars on Facebook asked, I want to go Black Water Rafting. Can you guys tell me which one is the best tour to see the glowworms as well? Do you want to take this one? Yeah, go for it.
Cool. So in Waitomo, just so you know, Waitomo is located in the west coast of the North Island. And yeah, beautiful, tiny little village, and it's all about caving. There's about 400 caves mapped and surveyed around that area. And yeah, and there's about 5 companies that do tourism and they explore the caves touristically. So those 5 companies they use about 12 caves to do tourism around them. Now, in terms of adventure, black rafting. So just so you understand, black water rafting is actually tubing underground. So that was a concept developed in the late 80s. So what black rafting is you have a inner tube or a floating device, and you sit on that, and then you float downstream in an underground river, right? That's one of the tours that do that, or a couple of the tours that do that. So that floating down underground rivers in caves while you're watching glowworms. Glowworms are these little glowing creatures that live inside of the caves. So when you look in the darkness, it actually looks like you are in space, essentially. Looks like stars. So in terms of adventure caving in Waitomo, you'd have the legendary Black Water Rafting, and they have a couple of tours. You'll see a lot of glowworms, and so that's the Black Abyss. And the Black Abyss, you abseil into the cave, and then there's zip line, and there are heaps of glowworms to see. That one, it is epic glowworm seeing as you lay down on rocks and you just chill and watch the glowworms in there. The Black Labyrinth is another one that you just mainly flow downstream and you're floating on those inner tubes. And a lot of glowworms in there as well. And then you have the Black Odyssey. That's actually a third tour. And that one is not in the water. You're actually high above the water, but it's still underground. So you're about 15 meters above the water, but it's still underground, and there's glowworms to see. Out of these 3, I think the glowworm, the Black Labyrinth would be the one to see, but that would have more glowworms. Now there's another company that do adventure tourism as well. That's Waitomo Adventures. They have 5 different tours in there. epic trips. You have the most classic one is the Lost World, in which you're going to abseil about 100 meters down into the crater of the cave before you get into the cave. So that one, they do a 5-hour tour or a 7-hour tours, and you sort of walk along the cave to the end. Awesome tour. They have the Haggard's Honking Holes, which is more extreme, I'd say, to be honest. There's quite a few abseils and a lot of waterfalls, and a really epic tour. There's the Tumu Tumu tubing as well, which is mainly floating downstream, which there are a lot of glowworms to be seen in there as well. The most beautiful caves that Waitomo Adventure explore is the Saint Benedict cave. So that is an epic, beautiful cave with a few glowworms, absolutely stunning formations, and a really cool story as well. The guides will tell you. There is Kiwi cave rafting as well. I haven't done that. Have you done that?
No, I haven't done the Kiwi cave rafting just yet.
Another company as well that you could do, and there is Tubit, which is what is it called?
Tubing.
There's Tubit. It's another company that does that in Waitomo as well. So anyway, there are quite a few options. If you don't want to do anything adventurous or extreme, there are always options to do just a boat tour inside of the cave. So the Glowworm Cave is the most famous one. However, is the busiest one, especially now in summertime, right? There is a very good option called Spellbound. That is an awesome tour, and a ton of glowworms that you see. The tour lasts about 2 or 3 hours, but the cave is stunning. So well recommended if you don't want to do anything extreme. But my preferred extreme one would be the Black Abyss with the legendary Black Water Rafting. That's my personal favorite.
So you guys can see that he has been living in Waitomo for way too long. So there is plenty of different options for you guys. But the one thing I want to point out is that some tours are going to be running at specific times. Some tours are going to be fully booked. Some tours are going to be a little bit outside your budget because some of them are expensive. So you're going to want to give yourself some options, right? Maybe it would be a good idea to get, one of those caving tours so you experience black water rafting without having the main mindset of trying to see glowworms, and making sure that you actually have fun caving and you go see glowworms after that. You can see a lot of glowworms in free caves around the Waitomo area and around New Zealand as well. I'm going to put some link in the description below for all the places to see glowworms in New Zealand. And otherwise, seriously, if you just want to see glowworms, head to Spellbound. It's absolutely mind-blowing. It's literally those beautiful night sky pictures right before your eyes. It's crazy amazing. But I think that covers everything about this question. As you can see, Leo is definitely he has a lot to say about that because, well, he used to live in Waitomo for quite a while. How long did you spend in Waitomo, actually? 2 years, right?
A good 3.5 years.
3.5 years. Holy cow.
If you go to Waitomo, there's a few other things to do around the area as well. There's the Marakopa Falls, which is just about 40 minutes. Waitomo is about just under 1 hour from the coast itself. So it's a very windy, narrow road, but it's worth exploring. If you do have time to spend there, worth going all the way to the coast. That's Marakopa. And there's a little beach just on the side to the south called Kihitahiri. There's nobody there ever, which is really awesome. You just have the beach for yourself. And then make sure you do check out the Marakopa Falls and the natural bridge that's on the way to the coast. So really cool. And
video of those two ones is going to be in the description below for sure. All right, so that wraps up this question. I think that this covered everything you need to know. And if you do have any extra questions, make sure to put them in the comment below. Make sure to hit like if that was the answer you were looking for, and make sure to subscribe because we do that. We do that all the time. All right, take a minute to say hi to the chat. So Leo, where's your accent from? Some people are asking if you're American or Canadian.
I am from Brazil.
Very close, very
South
close.
America. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So while the chat is warming up, we're going to go through another question. And actually, Leo used to work for Kiwi Experience as well. And if I remember, we did receive a question about Kiwi Experience not that long ago. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. We have a question on Facebook from Lisa K. And she says, I want to get on a hop-on hop-off bus pass with Kiwi experience, but everybody tells me it is a party bus. Is that true? They have a better deal than Stray right now, and I want to save money.
Right.
Is that true? Is Kiwi experience a party bus, Leo?
Is Kiwi experience's party bus? Well, the party, who makes the party are the passengers, right? So the drivers don't necessarily encourage partying as such, right? So, and then in terms of difference between Stray and Kiwi experience and party or not partying, the drivers are awesome drivers in both Kiwi experience and Stray. They will always want you to have a good time. So if you're a passenger in either of those companies, you will go partying and have a great time if you want to, and you will chill and relax and go do your hikes early in the mornings if that's what you're into. So normally, generically speaking, Q Experience had that sort of people think it's a party bus because of the passengers that normally would be more, English, I'd say, and they would like go partying and that, but not that the drivers would encourage that. Another thing is the Q Experience itinerary stops in more mainstream destinations, I'd say, and places that you can actually leave the hostel and then go into a bar or a pub and then in different ones and that kind of stuff, and you'd be more in cities and towns, and then Stray will take you more to the off the beaten track, or out of the mainstream, which means that you go into more isolated destinations where, if you do want to party with Stray, it'll be awesome parties, but then, it'll be in the middle of nowhere with your fellow passengers around you. And then again, the drivers will have a great time with you. Just make sure you talk to your driver, whichever company you choose from, have a chat to your drivers, and there will always be a place for you to go to bed earlier, and there will be places that you like, you know what, tonight it is a great time to go partying. Let's just, socialize and have a great time. And that's, what I'd always say. It is mainly yourself and the passengers do make the party bus or not the party bus. Then again, Stray normally and generically speaking has a bit of an older audience or guests or passengers on the bus, and Q Experience will be younger. But then this is generically speaking, you can go into a Stray bus and there'll be only youngsters, and then sometimes you go on a Q Express bus that'll be just people, keen to just relax and all that. And do you want to add? Yeah.
Anything? So from my personal experience, so like Leo, I traveled in both Kiwi Experience and Stray buses, and my personal experience is that the biggest party I've had on the road with one of those hop-on hop-off bus was actually with Stray in a stop called Blue Duck Station. And but one of the kind of mellow party I've ever had was with Kiwi Experience around Westport when we did a bonfire on the beach. So it really depends on the people. But the one thing I want to stress is that during both of those instances, there were some people in the bus that were not interested in going partying, and they just, say they want to go to bed. There's always a place for you to go to bed, and, no one's really going to judge you because everybody travels differently. Some people really need to recharge their batteries and have a good night of sleep before another day of adventure, and some people don't, right? You have to remember that those hop-on hop-off buses, it's kind of full on. You're starting rather early in the morning. You do a lot along the way. It's, and usually you do some activities like, let's say you're going to do whitewater rafting or this and that. I mean, you guys watch the video of Laura and I doing those activities every single day. I'm telling you, it's really exhausting, and you need some good rest after that. So I feel like it really depends on you. And to answer your question, Lisa, I will definitely say pick the one that has the price that suits you. They're both very similar. The only thing that changes between Stray and Kiwi Experience is the color of the bus and a couple of extra stops along the way. Yeah, I don't think the difference is huge, in my opinion. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I cool. Agree totally with you. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I hope that answered your question, Lisa. Again, if you have any extra questions, any follow-up, in the comment below. If you want us to actually answer your question live, well, pop in live. We are on live camera every single Sunday at 8 a.m. Usually there's Laura right here, not a Leo. So it's usually prettier to look at, but that's okay. And obviously, if you do like our videos, subscribe, do all those things, like all those stuff that we always want you guys to do. All right. How are you going on the live chat? Is everybody from overseas? Is there anyone from New Zealand? Where are you guys from? Can I get where you guys are from in the comment below? Come on, tell me something about you. Leo's from Brazil. Originally, I'm from France. So everybody's from everywhere.
Clearly from France.
Yeah, clearly, la Dida. Cool. So we've done that question. Oh, should we talk about earthquake? All right. We got a question from travel by drones from United States. I like it. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments below.
Auckland. Oh, yeah. There's a Kiwi there.
Yeah, Y2J actually has a cool YouTube channel. Make sure to hit him up, subscribe, check out his videos. Pretty awesome. Yeah, he just did a meetup with another YouTuber actually, Mary something, which is based in Christchurch now. So yeah, check out that video to see some more YouTubers that covers New Zealand. How awesome is that? All right, cool. So next question on YouTube, we had Sylvia Y1. Oh, wow. All right, let's start. I'm going to try this one again. Next question is on YouTube. That's from Sylvia Wanjaru. We'll go with that. I'm sorry, Sylvia. And Sylvia asked, hello, my name is Sylvia. I'm from Kenya. And how often do earthquakes occurs in New Zealand, and which town are most and least affected by them? All right. So Sylvia, I'm just going to get started on this one. Sylvia, earthquakes happen every single day in New Zealand, multiple times per day, but you usually don't feel them. Most of the earthquakes are very mild and you don't feel them whatsoever. And the really big earthquake that happen in New Zealand are only happening maybe every 5 years or not even. They're kind of rare. And New Zealand is really well equipped for it.
The thing is, that's a question for Mother Earth, really. We are on a fault line, right? So there are volcanoes in here, earthquakes do happen, and it is really difficult to sort of pinpoint and put actually drop a pen there and say that's the place that the earthquakes will happen. I've lived in New Zealand for just over 7 years, and I felt one earthquake a couple of weeks ago, and that was a mild one. So as Robin said, they do happen quite often. However, you don't naturally feel them all the time. Historically, that in the north of the South Island and Wellington area, they've happened over the last 10 years. That's where we've had the bigger ones lately. However, New Zealand is very prepared for that. So most of the buildings have been built for expecting earthquakes to happen, right? So those are the three that happened. Right, Robin just pointed one in there, and yeah, that's Christchurch, that's Kaikoura, and that's Wellington there. And about in 1930s, there was one big one in Napier as well, in the Hawke's Bay, which is in the North Island here. So the fault line goes right below here. So the Southern Alps are here. So that's all what Mother Nature created for us. It is very difficult again to point where the earthquakes will happen, but New Zealand is safe, and it's you mentioned something just before we're talking.
Yeah. So the thing is that yes, earthquakes happen all the time in New Zealand. Actually, I was just checking on an app called GeoNet that if you are really scared about earthquakes, you should download, and it tells you when the earthquake happened and how many and what's the magnitude and all of that. So just to give you an idea, in the last 24 hours in New Zealand, we had 5 different earthquakes. Obviously, none of them was felt, otherwise you could see it in the news. And they only happen, they happen mostly in those areas right here. Now, New Zealand is actually world leader in earthquake prevention. They are so good with that there are actually other cities that come here to actually check out how they build buildings here to withstand the earthquake. There's also a lot of education around, so everybody in the country will actually tell you that you stop, drop, and roll. And that's what you tell the kids. You get that, you get that in cartoons and all of that. So everybody knows what to do when that happens. But again, it happens so rarely. And because of all those reasons, if you compare similar sizes earthquake that happened, for example, in Christchurch, in some other part in the world, like for example, Southeast Asia, the death toll of the earthquake is like 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. That means there is like 10 times or 20 times less people dying in an earthquake in New Zealand than anywhere else, you know, and any other places in the world, which is quite amazing. It's also due to the fact that we have such a low population, but you know, I'm just going to slide that in. So New Zealand is pretty safe earthquake-wise. Yes, they do happen. Yes, they make the big headlines, but I don't think that should be a deterrent to your trip. It's not that much. But if you are absolutely terrified of earthquake, and that's the thing that keeps you awake at night, Sylvia, when traveling in New Zealand, try to avoid this area right here. So don't go to Christchurch, don't go to Kaikoura, don't go to Wellington, and don't go to Napier Hastings.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. My tip to you, Sylvia, is do not think. You know, clear your mind. There won't be any earthquakes. You know, just come to New Zealand, enjoy your time, and just don't think about that, because it is not likely that it will happen.
Yeah, and and to be fair, if that's the one thing that stops you from coming in New Zealand, I mean, it's, you know, you have more chance to win the lotto, I'm pretty sure, than actually experience an earthquake here. All right, so I hope that this answered your question, Sylvia. Thank you very much for taking the time to ask us your question on YouTube. We really appreciate it. Honestly, the only reason why we're doing those videos is because you guys keep sending us questions. So comment below, like the video, subscribe, do all of the things. And especially if you do have some questions and can't make it to our live videos, make sure to comment below. Now, taking the time to say hi to the chat, we have a newcomer called Sandrine, and she has a question. So Sandrine Dion, she's on YouTube right now, and she's asking, I'm coming in May in New Zealand, probably alone. Is it safe to do the multi-day hike in the Abel Tasman National Park alone? Leo, is it safe for a girl to travel alone in New Zealand?
Yeah.
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 So the first thing I'm going to say is that check out on this very YouTube channel, if you go to the video list, there is a whole video that Laura made on her own about girls traveling in New Zealand. You're going to have heaps of tips about, you know, being a solo female traveler in the country, and it's going to help you a lot. Now, to get back to your very specific question about the Abel Tasman National Park, the track is actually very safe, and it's a very popular track. So there is a lot of people doing it, making it even safer. You're never going to be stranded just by yourself. There is always going to be someone in the hut, and there is always going to be some people around. There is also a lot of tour companies that run boats and kayaks along the way. I mean, the Abel Tasman National Park is one of the most popular hot tracks. It's one of the hot spots of the South Island. It's really busy. Yeah. So you're not going to be feeling unsafe alone. You're probably going to meet a lot of other hikers. I mean, almost every time I've done one of those multi-day hike, you know, you just start hiking and you either by yourself or I was just with Laura. And then, you know, after maybe like 2 or 3 hours, you meet some other people. You just start hiking with them. You end up having food with them in the hut because, well, you know, the huts are placed on the line. So it's kind of... you always end up sticking together, which is quite cool. So I don't think they're going to be that big of a deal. There is a lot of people snoring. Like the most popular the track is, the more people are going to be snoring in your hut at night. So,
but I think she's coming in May. She said, right? So May is a great time to come because it's sort of a shoulder season. It's after summer. The Abel Tasman is super busy. There's people everywhere, and you need to book your hut in advance. So have a look at that. Make sure you do book your huts in advance. And yeah, so these platforms on Facebook, just, you know, drop a line at one of the backpacker channels on Facebook and Backpacker Guide. There's always someone who will be keen to do and to join you on your journey as well. So you may, you know, may buddy up with someone else, and, you know, just so it's not too boring for you to go on your own. But I guarantee you that you're going to find cool people along the tracks and all that. And it's definitely not dangerous at all whatsoever. The wildlife in New Zealand is not dangerous. The safest wildlife in the world. So nothing is going to hurt you, to kill you, to do any harm. And the people doing those hikes are awesome people. They just want to have as much fun as you want to have. So it is great. So absolutely no worry. It is safe. It is, you know, it is great.
And to his point, actually, about wanting to meet people, if you do not want to do this hike by yourself, you genuinely don't have to. I can put you in the description below some links for backpacker groups where you can just join on Facebook. So just go on Facebook and type like Backpacking New Zealand and join the groups. And on there, you'll be able to actually post and say, hey guys, I want to do the Abel Tasman track, in that date. Does anyone want to join me? And a lot of people find travel buddies that way, which is quite amazing. And so if you want to travel alone in New Zealand, you can. But if you don't want to and you're coming in New Zealand alone, you definitely do not have to be alone. I can't stress that enough. There's so many travelers in New Zealand, so you're definitely going to be able to meet some people. So that's pretty much our answer to your question, Sandrine. If that is what you wanted to know, just say thank you by liking and subscribing. And if that's not, make sure to give us in a comment below follow-up questions, because we're here to help, actually. So that's pretty cool. All right, moving on, saying hi to the chat. Hey, Shreyas. Cool. Hey, Apova. Oh, Sandrine is happy with the answer. That's pretty good. Cool. Hey, Elvin, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us another week. Elvin joins us really regularly. And he's Robin Ways Laura. Why, you don't like Leo?
Sorry, mate.
All right, cool. What else is there? All right, cool. So so Shreyas, you're asking about student questions. We don't really know much about that. September is the beginning of like the busy season in New Zealand, so I don't know if that's going to be the good time for you to travel around. But as a student, I really genuinely have no ideas. So I'm sorry. There is a lot of questions about New Zealand that we are not experts about and we don't know, so we're not going to cover those. But if you have any questions about actually traveling in New Zealand, guys, Shreyas and Apova, just make sure to put them in the comment below. We are all about travel here. Cool. All right. Oh, we have a question from Katie, actually. So KT. So it's KA with a T at the end. I do not know why, but that's cool. All right. So on Facebook, Katie asks, I love your channels. Thanks so much. You guys are awesome. Plus, you are such a cute couple. That's ironic today. I have a question for your next video. I come to Christchurch for only 6 days from Aussie, which is Australia. I want to see landscape and wildlife and will rent a car. For anything else, I'm open and will follow your tips. Can you please use the map? I like it a lot. So yes, Katie, we can use the map. All right, let's go with the map. So 6 days in the South Island, arriving. Oh, I'm going to do that way so you can hear me. 6 days on the South Island, arriving in Christchurch. So Christchurch around here. I think she can definitely go to Kaikoura, right? Yeah. That's definitely worth doing. Nelson, we're going to go Punakaiki and then we're going to drive back, I think. All right, so that's the best way, in my opinion, to spend 6 days. Look at that. All right, so I'm going to cover quickly the name of the places, and then we'll tell you a little bit about them and why we think is the best way to do 6 days. Christchurch, Kaikoura-ish is probably more around here. Nelson, Punakaiki, and this is the Arthur Pass Road. Now, you guys know us by now. When we do itineraries, I feel like the best way to travel around New Zealand is to actually not do a different destination every single day, but just have like 3 or 4 places you want to cover in those 6 days and have a little bit of flexibility. That'll make it a bit more fun for you to travel around rather than just be bam, 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 always driving at night and doing activities during the day. Now, so you're going to be landing in Christchurch, and I would suggest doing a loop that way. Now, your first stop is going to be Kaikoura because you said you really like wildlife. I mean, there is so much wildlife to do in Kaikoura. I mean, what do you have?
Yeah, well, there's a whale watching in Kaikoura is spectacular. So it is pretty much guaranteed that you're going to see whales, and dolphin swimming in Kaikoura is the best. So in terms of wildlife interaction, that is the best that you can get. It is in Kaikoura. So if you want to swim with dolphins, that's the best place to do it. In the wild, nothing, in captivity. It's just the cream of the cream. So yeah, and there is seals. There is plenty of awesome things
so one of my favorite wildlife activity actually in New Zealand is in Kaikoura, and is seal swimming. It's super interactive. I can't stress enough how awesome that is. We'll put a link to that video in the description below, or just type "seal swimming" on the search bar, on the search bar on Backpacker Guide, and you'll find it. There is also an albatross encounter tour where you actually head on the boat and you go see those gigantic marine birds. So it's really cool. And just even if you just do the coastal walk in Kaikoura, which is totally free to do, you end up in a seal colony. So wildlife-wise, I think Kaikoura is definitely a stop on your itinerary. Yeah. Then we'll get you to head to Nelson, which is the gateway to the Abel Tasman National Park. If you really want, you can stop around here, which is where Picton is, and you can explore all the Charlotte Sound, the Marlborough Sound, and they're really beautiful places to explore. And there's a ton of wildlife, birds. But if you base yourself in Nelson, you can get to the Abel Tasman National Park. We just talked about it actually just earlier on. There is the Abel Tasman track that you can do. You can only do a few hours if you want. Be dropped by boat. Yeah. You can kayak.
Over here is the Abel Tasman National Park.
And so actually there's two. There's even the Kahurangi National Park just right here. So basically this almost entire area is a national park, and so there's plenty of activities. Like you've done kayaking over there, right? You went kayaking.
Yeah, awesome.
Did you get to see some wildlife?
Seals just swimming by the boat, and really cool.
Yeah, so really a ton of stuff. Plus the landscape are really beautiful. That's the place where you can see the turquoise water, the lush New Zealand rainforest, and those golden sand beach. It's just picture perfect. So you want scenery, you want wildlife, this is one spot you absolutely want to hit.
Plus Nelson claims to be the sunniest place in New Zealand. So that gets the most sun throughout the year. So,
I think they say they have the highest amount of sun hours in the world, which is in the country, which is quite fun. All right, then you're going to make your way to Punakaiki. Now, the reason why I think you should make your way to Punakaiki, it's because the wild west coast region of New Zealand is really epic and it offers amazing landscape. Plus, in Punakaiki, you have something called the Pancake Rocks, which is such a unique nature wonder. There are blowholes and everything. I mean, you've been there, right?
Yeah, John said it's Pancake Rocks.
Pancake Rocks.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, there's even some caves to explore around there as well, which is quite cool. I
was going to say one stop if you're going from Nelson to Punakaiki. There is the Nelson Lakes National Park as well. Lake Rotoiti, which is a cool stop. There's a nice jetty that and you can swim in the water. There's a lot of eels just underneath that jetty, and the photos, jumping in the water, it's awesome. It's a really cool view. And Lake Rotoiti in the Nelson Lakes National Park. It's really cool. It's right in the middle there. So you could do sort of like that.
Yeah, do a little bit of the tour. Yeah. It's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. All right. So once you spend the night in Punakaiki, you drive the beautiful Afterpass. Did you drive Afterpass?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Tell them about it. Tell them how awesome that is.
Well, you can tell them about it. Yeah. No, it's really cool. Really awesome, beautiful journeys. That's sort of the beginning of the Southern Alps. So you're gonna go over the Southern Alps and the beautiful views everywhere. Back to Christchurch where you fly out. Do you want to?
Yeah. So honestly, one of the most scenic drive you will do in your entire life if you do the Afterpass. And so you're here for the wildlife and for the landscape, you said, Katie. So this is definitely something you're not gonna want to miss. So that is our suggestion, to spend 6 days on the South Island without trying to do too much and with a big focus on wildlife and landscape. I hope this answered your question, Katie. If anyone in the live chat right now find that useful, make sure to actually hit subscribe, hit like. We really appreciate the support. And in the meantime, we're going to go through a few more live chat questions. So let's go for it. All right. I remember seeing a question from Travel by Drone, which I guess have a YouTube channel. If you guys want to tell us about a YouTube channel, I can just read that out loud at the end of the question if you want to. And if anyone else asks a question, I think Smiling Good asked a question, make sure to post it again because right now they're off my screen. All right. So let's go with the question from Travel by Drone. All right, so Travel by Drone says on the live chat right now, what months are best to travel to New Zealand?
Great question.
Great question. Well, to be fair, most people are actually not going to be coping with New Zealand winter. It's cold, it's wet, it's raining a lot, so you're not going to want to come in winter. And in summer, it's expensive and there's a lot of people. So you're going to want to target the shoulder season. Now, on BackpackerGuide.NZ, we have a whole article explaining you why it's best to travel in the shoulder season and what are the months that we prefer. But basically, you're going to want to be traveling between February and April and around September, November. I think someone in the comment actually already said that. I think it was Y2J. But those are going to be the 2 shoulder seasons where it's going to be best for you to travel. Yeah. Now, do you know why it's best to travel in the shoulder season? Do you want to give them some reasons?
Yeah, well, summer, I guess you've got it spot on. Summer is too busy. I don't like to be that busy. You can't do much things. You're going to be in line to queuing up for everything you do. And yeah, so shoulder seasons are great. I'd say even March, April, May, and September, October, November sort of thing. The weather, it's settled, so it's not, it's not rainy or not too cold. And so yeah, I'd say yeah, definitely spring or autumn.
Yeah, so the one thing I like as well is that traveling in spring in New Zealand, you actually get even more wildlife. The wildlife is really active in spring because, well, this is when the birds are finding their mate and all those kind of things. So you get even more bird noises when you go around and more activity in the wildlife kind of realm, which is quite cool. Plus, if you travel in autumn in New Zealand, you get all those changing colors in the leaf. I mean, especially around Lake Wanaka, it's absolutely gorgeous in autumn. So
yeah, everywhere really.
Yeah,
like
everywhere.
Driving through Cambridge in the North Island, and in May, it's just outstanding, beautiful. Everywhere. New Zealand is very green, so you have the trees and all that. You see that everywhere, and some of these small towns that you drive through as well. On an autumn, it's just beautiful. You feel like you're in Europe without all the buildings and stuff, but yeah, it's really cool.
Actually, that reminds me, if you are actually in New Zealand in autumn, then have a bit of spare time, make your way to the East Cape and go to the Arboretum. It's called East Woodland Arboretum, and it's the largest collection of Northern Hemisphere trees in the Southern Hemisphere. Don't ask, but you get all those Northern Hemisphere trees, like literally one of each, and they are all in beautiful autumn colors. It's quite amazing. It's quite a sight. It has nothing to do with New Zealand, right? You're going to see European trees, but it's just a really cool pit stop to check out. And so, yeah, so less people. The other good reason to travel during the shoulder season is because it's going to be cheaper. The rates usually go down, so you're going to save a lot of money.
There are deals, yeah.
Yeah, there are much more deals around. Even with a company that we talked about, Kiwi Experience has cheaper prices during those shoulder seasons. Even sometimes you get some better deal with the Black Water Rafting. You get sometimes some 10% off. It's never a really good deal with Black Water Rafting, so it's quite expensive. So yeah, so there is this financial reason as well, and there is also the flexibility. I mean, what I like when I travel is to have maybe like a week ahead book, and then being able to actually be flexible, right? When you're traveling in summer in New Zealand, if you're traveling in December, January, and February, you will have to have everything booked in advance.
Way in advance.
Yeah, or you're just going to show up in a place and you won't be able to find an accommodation without spending like $500 a night. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility, which I find very valuable when I travel, because I don't travel to just stick to the plan. I kind of want to enjoy the place as well. So it's another really good reason to travel during the shoulder season in New Zealand. But again, plenty more information on BackpackerGuide.NZ. We make sure to actually give you all the info we actually can think of on the website, and I'll make sure to put the links for you below. And I hope that this answered your question, travel by drone. I feel like we covered quite a lot of reason, and yeah, shoulder season, definitely. So you try to avoid midwinter and you try to avoid midsummer, and everything else is going to be really awesome. So yeah, is that what you wanted to hear? Is that a detailed enough answer? Tell us in the comment below, let us know. And yeah, we'll answer any follow-up question if you have any. In the meantime, like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and I hate saying that, but like and subscribe. All right, cool. Let me have a look at the live chat. Oh, cool. We have a question about food. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Food. Yeah, food. All right. Smiling Good Times. All right. So Smiling Good Times on YouTube on the live chat right now is asking. He wants to know, or he or she, tell me if you're he or she, wants to know great places to eat on the North and South Islands that are local favorite and not widely known. They're coming in for 3 weeks next month. All right. Well, we both have traveled quite a lot around, so I'll just pick some stuff I do really like around, and yeah, I'll tell you about them, and that's pretty much it. All right, let me pick them up. Actually, that's gonna be more fun that way. All right, smiling good. Let's talk about some food around that I did like. All right, start thinking about stuff you like.
Well, to start with, Auckland, it is very well known for the gastronomy. So in Auckland, you find, fancy, really nice, beautiful cafes, restaurants, and, Ponsonby is an actually really nice area within Auckland for that kind of gastronomy. If you're a foodie, that's the place that you want to be, and within the whole country, really.
All right, so let's just go specific in Auckland. Let's give you a couple of things. So if you want one of the fanciest cafe, you're gonna get, like some of the most awesome chocolate. You're gonna get. You go to the Shelf. It's right in the city center of Auckland. It's called the Shelf, and it's really awesome. So go to the Shelf and check out that place. Now, what is the name of that awesome steak restaurant near Nomads Backpackers? On the side, Angus Steakhouse. So if you want a really awesome steakhouse, a traditional steakhouse, you go to Angus Steakhouse. They have all New Zealand awesome beef. And it's a real steakhouse. So you just walk in and you have all the raw cuts of steak. You pick which one you want. You put it in your plate. You give it to the cook. You tell them how you want them to cook it for you. And you have an all-you-can-eat buffet on the side. It's literally the best steak I've had in my life. So in Auckland, you want a dinner, you go to Angus Steakhouse. You want a coffee, you go to the Shelf. And if you want kind of a really unique food experience in New Zealand, you may want to go to the Orbit restaurant, which is right on top of the Sky Tower. It's basically a restaurant that kind of moves around, so you have one of the fanciest places to eat. And if you want to impress a lady, I can tell you this one is a good one. So that would be for Auckland. Yeah, there's quite a lot of food experience.
Yeah.
Now going down around Rotorua. All right, do you have any places that you like to eat in Rotorua, or do I keep going?
Well, Rotorua, 8th Street. There is a street. It's called 8th Street. Which go to 8th Street. You're definitely going to find a cool places to eat. Soul Bar is a good one. It's there's always a good burger at Soul Bar, and it's a small place there. I really like the burgers in there.
Cool. And in Rotorua also, it's one of the best place to experience the Maori culture. So there's quite a few evening shows that will provide food. So you'll be able to try to experience the hangi, which is the traditional Maori meal. And you can experience that in places like Matai, Tamaki, and it's a whole inclusive kind of tour that basically it's a Maori evening. You have a Maori show. You are going through a little bit of a Maori village to learn about their life. And then they do this hangi, which is cooked underground. It's juicy. It's seriously so good. So that is definitely something you may want to try right here.
You definitely should try the hangi, and Tamaki Maori Tours, they do an epic hangi, really, really good.
All right, so we move back down. We're not going to be able to cover every fucking places around the country. Oops, I said fuck. I didn't say fuck, that wasn't me. Anyway, we won't be able to cover all the places, but let's go down to Wellington. So in Wellington, any places that you like to eat, or do I go for it?
No, there is. Oh, I forgot the name of the place. Carry on.
All right, so there is a street called Cuba Street, where there's heaps of restaurant there. It's kind of like the fancy posh place. I mean posh, no, more like hipster. I'd say. Yeah, hipster. That's the word. Hipster place. There is really a lot of different restaurants there, and there's a lot of really good things. And there is a food court, and I hope I'm correct, but I think it's the World Food Court or Around the Globe Food Court or something like that. So try to find out the name. If any of you guys can actually find that on the live chat, go on Google and find me if it's called the World Food Court in Wellington, and tell me right now before I finish this question. But it's such a cool place. It's really cheap. It's really cheap in that food court, and you get food from all around the world, which is really awesome. Yeah,
Wellington is the cultural capital of New Zealand, that actual capital. But you see a lot of culture things, and the food. It's really well known, and there's a lot of foodies in Wellington. That's what I wanted to say. So it is. But that food court, literally, I only seen local there every single time I went to, and it's really awesome food. Yeah. Now, I just wanted to say here, New Zealand pies are really good. So you must try at least one pie while you're in New Zealand. So yeah, my personal favorite is steak and cheese. And there is an awesome place in Kihi, which is just outside of Waitomo, just actually north. So on the way down from Auckland to Waitomo, to the Waikato region in there, yeah, Kihi, Kihi. So it's south of Te Awamutu. So there's a bakery in there, and that is my personal favorite pie. So yeah, go for that.
Yeah, Kiwi pies are world famous.
Yeah.
All right, South Island, we're going to keep going with some food suggestion. Blenheim, this is where you have heaps of wineries. I mean, really, that's the foodie kind of capital of the South Island, I'm going to say. There is a lot of fancy places to eat in Queenstown, but the foodie capital of the South Island is going to be Blenheim, in my opinion. Get yourself on the wine tour and grab yourself some awesome food. If I can suggest one, I really like Framingham. It's really not one of the most popular ones, but it's a definitely really cool one. It has like this rock vibe. They have some really awesome wine. I'm not sure they do food, but they do really awesome wine. And, you know, if you talk about food, you have to talk about wine. Now a quick one here. Is it called when you finish the Abel Tasman Park? Is it called the Tui Burgers? It's called the Tui Burgers. I think it's a food truck. So when you finish your Abel Tasman track down there, grab a Tui Burger. It's really awesome. It's really delicious, and it's just a guy in his shack making some burgers. You can't miss it when you finish the track, and it's really good. All right, moving down around here in Greymouth, you get a brewery called is it Max Brewery that you visit? No, Monty's Brewery. You can visit the brewery and have some really, really amazing food. We had some old tasters and stuff where you can taste a little bit of the different meal that they make. It's really delicious, and I really did enjoy this one. That was really awesome. I don't have much food around here, to be honest. Up to Queenstown, I can't recall any really amazing food. In Queenstown, it's a local's favorite. You have to try Eric's Fish and Chips. Oh, and speaking of fish and chips, obviously there's a lot of places with awesome fish and chips on the West Coast. But in Queenstown, you've got to try Eric's Fish and Chips. I can't stress enough how amazing those guys are. They are making absolutely amazing food. Plus, they have something which is so unique and yet so Kiwi. They do deep fried kiwi fruit for this. And this is probably one of the best things I've heard of and I've tasted in this country. I cannot stress enough how amazing is the deep fried kiwi fruit of Eric's Fish and Chips. Did you try that?
You've got to
try it.
Yeah. You've already sold it to me now.
I know it sounds so silly to be so excited about something deep fried, but oh my God, this is the best thing invented since deep fried cheesecake. Deep fried cheesecake is delicious. All right, going back up here, I can't remember where it is. I think it's around, it's Twizel or Geraldine. There's this guy that does the best pies in New Zealand. He has an award. It's somewhere around here. And there is also Ben O'Howe Cheeses. Now, it's a place that nobody ever heard of. It's making cheese in his container. You're looking for something which only the locals know about. Ben O'Howe Cheese. Just around here as well. And seriously, really awesome. He's making cheese in his container. Yeah. He's have a homemade jams as well with it, which is really cool.
On the way here as well, well, just to go back to Queenstown, there's Ferg Burger.
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
that's, you know, if you
that's
go
world famous, yeah.
If you go to Queenstown and if you don't have a Ferg Burger, you haven't been to Queenstown, really. You know, if you go to Queenstown in summer and those crazy week, you know, after December, January, the line can be about 2 hours line just to get your order put through. So you know, but it is worth it. It's a very famous burger and definitely worth it. Now, on the way out of Queenstown, on the way up north here around this region as well, there are some salmon farms, and some of them you can stop and have fresh salmon in there, and they have little salmon burgers. What delicious! So well recommended as well.
I haven't tried this one. I want to try that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Just out of Pukaki, Lake Pukaki as well. So yeah, on the other side. So really on this road here out of Queenstown, going north towards Lake Tekapo sort of thing. Yeah, really cool. Delicious. Well recommended.
Cool. Now for Christchurch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge Y2J because I know he's around He's around the Christchurch area. I'm going to challenge Y2J to come up with the video of the best food in Christchurch, because I have a few things that I like, but I want to know if he likes them. And yeah, so Y2J, in the next couple of weeks, I want to see you coming up with a video about the best food in Christchurch, and I will link to it in the comments of that video as well. So go for it. I'm not taking any suggestions on the live chat, man. I want you to make a video about it. So I want you to show me all those places. All right, and then we're going to go to Kaikoura. So Kaikoura is all about seafood. There is obviously the seafood cart in Kaikoura nearby the seal colony. And there is also a massive building with a massive crayfish on it. You can't miss it. And crayfish, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a New Zealand version of a lobster.
It's a lobster without claws.
Yeah, exactly. So, so yeah, really heaps of awesome seafood around Kaikoura as well. But yeah, that's basically all the places you can get some awesome food in New Zealand. We missed many because obviously there is so much food around the country. Yeah. But I feel like it gave you a bit of a taste, and yeah.
There's great ones in the Napier region here, in the Hawke's Bay, and yeah, awesome place.
But we can be going for an hour about that, so yeah. But I hope this answered your question. Your question, smiling. What was your name already? Let me just comment.
That was a cool name.
Smiling Good Times. So I hope that answered your question. I hope we covered a lot of stuff. But yeah, if you do have any follow-up, just make sure you put them in the comments below. And obviously, like, subscribe, all this nonsense. Make sure you hit all those buttons, all the stuff which are flashing red right now. Make sure you hit them because it does help us a lot. All right, Leo, I actually saw a question which was similar to what we had right here. So yeah, it was similar to this one. So yeah,
that's a great question.
Wait. Let's just read what's there, and then you read this one. Let me just give it a quick look. They're all having a massive discussion right here. I love the fact that you guys are actually helping each other right here. It's really cool. So, you know, it's not only us giving you tips, all the live chat helping each other. It's really awesome. All right. So next question on the live chat right here, it's Apurva Kumar. He says, for living and working, would you recommend Auckland, Wellington, or Christchurch? And that is very similar to a question that we received. So we'll do everything together. So what's this question?
We got a question from Bernice Chan on YouTube. Where is the best place in New Zealand? And that's a very broad question.
All right. So yeah, that is definitely a very broad question. So because everybody has like very different taste, and everybody has different way to travel, different way to live and everything, I'm just going to cover a few cities and tell you why there will be a good place for you to settle in, and that should help you kind of, you know, decide. So I'll take the map because it's just always easier that way. Let me just wipe this whole thing.
To start with, just think that New Zealand is full of small towns, right? There are not many big cities. There might be maybe 5, if that. So just bear in mind with that.
All right, so we'll start with New Zealand's biggest city, which is Auckland right here. Now, Auckland is by far, and I say by far, the most expensive city to live in New Zealand. It is extremely expensive to live in. It's second to Queenstown. No, sorry, it's you know, the only other comparable cost of living will be Queenstown. It's very, very, very expensive. But you know, there's a lot of opportunities there. There's a lot of job. There's a lot of you know, places to go out to. There's a lot of activities. But on the other hand, there is also a lot of job applicants. So have a look at that. But you know, this is where you're going to have the biggest universities. So you come here if you come here to be a student, maybe Auckland is the right place for you. And also, it's one of the easiest places to live in if you do not have a car, because they have very good public transport, while other places are slightly lacking a little bit behind. Anything else you want to say about Queenstown?
No,
Auckland. Sorry.
Yeah, more than half of the population of New Zealand is in here itself in Auckland City. So yeah, as Robin said, a lot of job opportunities. However, a lot of many more competitors as well.
Yeah. So remember that the cost of living will be between 450 to like 650 to get a small apartment for yourself in the CBD. And if you want to share it with people, it's going to be between $250 and $350. And we're talking a weekly rate right here. So it's very expensive to live in Auckland. If you do, you're going to want to live out in the outer suburbs. And make sure to check out the accommodation, the accommodation guide to Auckland that we're going to be linking in the description below. And it's going to give you all the prices, all your options, and therefore. Next one is Rotorua. So Rotorua is actually one of my favorite cities in New Zealand because, in my opinion, it has the best ratio of cost of living and things to do. Leo, what do you like about Rotorua?
Well, Rotorua is great. You will feel it smells a bit weird, and it's just the sulfur activity, and there's a lot of thermal activity in Rotorua. However, it is a really cool center. There is a lot of Maori culture in there, that's not fake. You see a lot of Maoris who actually live in Rotorua, so there's a massive population of Maori people in there, which is actually cool for you to interact and understand a bit more of the culture. And yeah, as you said, there's a good ratio in between. There's a lot of activities to be done in Rotorua, including a lot of the cultural ones, but also adventure ones as well. And because it's right in the sort of in the center of the North Island, you are close by to everything else. So you're in the Bay of Plenty here, so the Tauranga is really close. Even the East Cape, and then you can go to the West Coast. So Lake Taupo is right in the middle. So you're close by a lot of other places as well that you can move around. If you're not in Auckland, if you are, everywhere else, it is good to have a car. The public transport in New Zealand is not the very best. So for you to move around and to be able to explore the region around yourself, it is great to have your own vehicle. Yeah,
but in most places, you'll be able to rent a car for a day or two. So if you want to do a bit of a road trip, you can always do that. But yeah, it will be nice for you to be able to explore, or just meet some friends with some cars. If you stay in a hostel, a lot of people are going to do a bit of day trips here and there. So you hang out around the hostel, make some friends. Best way to make friends is to make food with them, and hop in the car with them, and that's pretty awesome. Now moving on to another city. So again, I do know there are some other cities like New Plymouth and everything, but we're just trying to cover the main ones because the questions are, what are the best cities in New Zealand? So we're trying to cover the main one. So the next one is Wellington. It's kind of like the foodie place to be. There's heaps of cafes and heaps of awesome food, and it's kind of the cultural capital of New Zealand, as well as being the actual capital of New Zealand. What do you like about Wellington?
Well, Wellington is nicknamed the Windy City. So the weather in Wellington isn't the greatest. I have to say that. However, if you after culture and things like that, that's where the Weta workshop is. That's where the movies in New Zealand are sort of made. Where Peter Jackson is from and all that. So, but the culture in Wellington is great. And it is. There is a lot of infrastructure in terms of big city. It is the capital of the country, and it's really easy to live in. There's the university as well, so really cool place to be as well.
There is a MB in the comment right now, which is actually saying that the weather is great in Wellington, but that's because he's from New Zealand and he hasn't experienced anything else. So here you go. But yeah, no, there is the joke aside, there is the Te Papa Museum, which is really awesome in Wellington, and there is the Myanmar Peninsula, which is kind of a suburbs in Wellington, which is one of the best places if you want to work or experience the film industry. Even if you just want to be an extra, it's quite cool. I was just making a joke, NB. All right, moving on the rest of the South Island. So we're going to go straight to Christchurch right here. Ooh, actually, Christchurch is right here. Oops. But yeah, Christchurch is going to be the best place in New Zealand if you want to find a work. You literally walk in and you get a job. It's as simple as that, right? There is so much work to be done. And yeah, anything about Christchurch?
Not really. It's after the earthquake, 5, 7 years, 6 years ago now. The city is still being rebuilt, but there's actually, I've been in Christchurch the last couple of months, and I feel like a good vibe in town. It's there's a lot of artwork around, street art around, and it is a cool place. I felt a good vibe in Christchurch, and it's a flat area as well, so it's really easy if you're a skateboarder and if you like biking around. It is easier to sort of move around. If you don't have a car, by instance, because it's flat. And plus, the Akaroa Peninsula here is really beautiful as well. So if you do have a car, to go and explore that area, and you close by other things as well, Kaikoura up north, and even Nelson, that little itinerary that Robin was talking about in the north of the South Island here is really beautiful, and it's easy to do from Christchurch as well. So it's nice to explore the region around it. Hamner Springs right in the middle there as well. It's really cool. Anyway, so yeah, good.
Yeah, and some universities down there as well, which if you're a student. Okay, and we'll wrap it up. So I know, again, even in here, there is other cities like Greymouth and Invercargill, which I love all of them, but we can't cover everything every single time. So we're just going to talk about Queenstown. Now, if you're a millionaire, you're going to love Queenstown. Leo, go for it.
Yeah. Now, Queenstown is expensive. Robin said that Queenstown is very expensive to live. However, there is a whole lot of backpackers in there. There's a lot of young people who go there and they're transient. They just go there, they stay, they live and work in hostels. There's a lot of jobs that you can work in a hostel as you live there. So, you pay for accommodation, kind of like that. It is cool. You enjoy. It's a beautiful, beautiful town, like gorgeous. It is, can't stress more about that, how cool Queenstown is. If you like the nightlife, partying, there is a party every night. You can go out every night. The only cheap thing in Queenstown is drinks, because there are so many bars, and and the pub crawls pretty much every night. And if there isn't an actual pub crawl, you will do your own pub crawl. You'll meet some people around, and and you go from bar to bar. But I personally wouldn't recommend you to go partying every night, because there are so many more awesome things to do. And out of Queenstown, you have Glenorchy, you have Arrowtown, and to go to Milford Sounds, that's where you go from. Even down south to Invercargill and Bluff, that's where you go to Stewart Island, which is the original South Island. And so there, shark swimming and all that kind of stuff. So from Queenstown here, awesome to explore the south of the South Island as well, which is epic. And then Dunedin is on the about 2.5-3 hour drive as well on the west coast that you can explore as well. So being based in Queenstown would be awesome. But saying that, you can live outside of Queenstown, in a smaller place, even in Dunedin, which is in the east coast there, which could be a cheaper place to live. There is a student base in there, massive university. That could be a good base as well.
All right, cool. So obviously that's just 5 out of all the cities in New Zealand, but I feel like we did cover a lot of different types. If you're into adventure, it's Queenstown. If you're into work, it's Christchurch. If you're into food, it's Wellington. If you're into like a cheap ratio of like cost of living and activity, it's going to be Rotorua. And if you want to see the most people you can, it's Auckland. So yeah, I hope this answered your question. If you do have any more, comment below, like and subscribe. And this comes very close to the end of our session. So we'll do one last question only. And I think I really like the question that I just got from Elvin on the live chat. And Elvin asked us to discuss a few Kiwi slang.
Yeah, bro.
All right. So slang is actually just kind of like the typical kind of say and thing that you can mostly only find in New Zealand. No, not really just only find in New Zealand, but really, really prominent in the New Zealand culture. Now, bear in mind that I'm originally from France and Leo is originally from Brazil. So we're actually going to be able to tell you the most confusing kind of slang that we encounter, which is quite funny. All right, so let's get started with yeah, nah. I think that's probably one of the most common.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. So if I were to ask Leo, hey Leo, do you want to go have a beer after this session?
Yeah, nah.
Now, does it mean yes or does it mean no? I don't know.
It means no.
Okay, it means no. But it's just so confusing. So Kiwis very often say that they are very polite, so they don't want to say no all the time. So they're going to be saying like, yeah, nah. That means no. If there is no in the sentence at some point, that means no. Okay? I just want to make sure that everybody knows that. Now,
there is one, one massive one, which is sweet as.
So that doesn't mean that your ass is made of sugar.
Yeah, there's another very confusing one, especially for North Americans. They often get here. They're like, these people are a bit rude. They're talking about my ass, and it's not. It's literally, it is sweet as a cake. But then they just don't use the last. It's just sweet as in as something. Sweet as sugar. Sweet as something. But they just instead of just saying sweet, this is sweet, and they just say sweet as ... There is no sweet as anything else. It's just a comparison to nothing. But Kiwis will say all the time, from people in the bank helping you to to a backpacker staff. So anyone and everyone will say sweet as. Sweet as is like cool. I agree with you saying it's just sweet.
Yeah,
as,
that's cool. That's all good. And there's some variants. Some people actually say that in the live chat right now, like keen as and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So that there's some variant, but it basically just means cool.
Yeah. Choice is another one.
Choice choice.
Choice. Yeah, choice is like nice, cool. Choice. Yeah, let's go do this. Choice.
To me, it means nothing. Choice. Like choice is just it's such a weird one.
You said sure. Of course, in this Southern Pacific, in Australian here, and they say we say cheers all the time for like cheers as in thanks. But of course, Kiwis make everything simpler and shorter, and so chur, it is the Kiwi version of cheers. It's CHUR, chur. It's just like chur, and that can be what's up, or it can be see you later, and it can be anything chur. And so yeah, it's just chur.
Now, another slang that I found in New Zealand is that I find that Kiwis like to pronounce the question mark at the end of the question. So they're going to say something like A or A or A at the end of the question. So they're going to say like, oh, you had a good time, eh? Okay. But basically, it is just the question mark at the end of the question, which I found quite funny.
And it's kind of like Canadians say A as well. Canada A, and in New Zealand, they have their own version of the A.
Yeah, which is more like A, or it just bounces a little bit more, yeah.
You will, you find as well, because, the native people of New Zealand are the Maoris, and the Maori culture is still very alive and very well respected in the country. You see a lot of the Maori language comes into the normal vocabulary of the people in New Zealand. So you see kia ora. So you see everybody saying kia ora. You see kia ora written everywhere you go. And that's a way to greet anyone, really. So you just say kia ora, and kia ora means hello, hi, how are you? And and you see not only Maoris but even white people saying kia ora all the time. So and that's just a greeting. And I say kia ora all the time. And it is a respectful way of being in the country, and even for yourselves coming as a tourist, it is cool to to greet people saying kia ora, and especially the Maori background and the Maori people who live here, they would appreciate that, and it's a respectful to that country.
Definitely. So another word that I learned when coming to New Zealand, I learned the word heaps.
Heaps.
Yeah. So to get back to the kia ora before we talk about heaps. Actually, someone tells me it's also used as thank you, which is quite cool.
It is correct.
All right. So heaps, that basically means like a lot or a ton, but they use that word for everything. It's quite crazy.
Because in literal English, heaps is a pile of. It would be a pile of. So you have a heap of food in your plate. So that would be what heaps is, technically in English. However, in New Zealand, you can have heaps of people, which is not a pile of people. It's just a shitload of people. And, so heaps is very, overused in New Zealand. So you see heaps a lot. You see people using heaps.
Yeah, and I hope we're gonna get heaps of like for this video. So here you go. Oh, that was cringy, isn't it? All right, cool. Another one is like bro or cuz. Like people cuz. So people use that one really often. It's usually more the younger people, but it's a word that you're gonna hear all the time. It's not necessarily kind of it's not intended in kind of a mean way. Like a brother. It's kind of like it's bro. It's like it's mate. It basically means mate.
Churber.
Yeah, churber. Yeah, exactly. Churber. Here you go. A bit of a combo right here. And what was the other one I had in mind? I had another one in mind.
There's a few, and we do use them all the time, I guess. But
let me just have a look. I actually have an article down there. No worries. No worries means okay or all good or it's gonna be done or like understood. This is
That's used in Australia as well. No worries. It's just like it's kind of a thank you, like or you're welcome. Sorry, you're welcome. So someone does something for you, and then it's like, oh, thank you. Oh, no worries. It's just like you're welcome. I've done that. There's no worries. I'm pleased to do that. No worries. All good.
Cool. Yeah. And so, speaking of that, we were pleased to answer your question today, but that is over for today. I want to thank everybody that actually showed up for this live session again. It's always overwhelming to see the amount of questions that we get. I know there is a couple of questions we did not have a lot of time today, so I couldn't get to every single question. Someone said they learned heaps today, which is quite fitting, so I like it. So next week we'll be back at exactly the same time, and Laura will be back, hopefully. I hope she's coming back. Otherwise, we are stuck with Leo again. But Laura will be back next week. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, any questions, put them in the comment below and we'll get to it as soon as we can. Thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate the fact that you guys are always here with us. So yeah, cheer bro, thanks heaps. And yeah, I hope you had a choice time with us and it was sweet as to hang out with us. Bye-bye. Hit like and subscribe. Don't forget to do that.